What's up, Strike Nation? Blake Albertson here with B&B Lawn Care. I'm here again with Rod here at the Pleasant Valley Site 1. You're like a regular here now, but if you guys are in the area, like, you gotta come see him. He knows everything about fertilizer. This is what you do, is you help guys like me choose fertilizer, pick out a plan, and that's exactly what we're gonna talk about here today in this video. Is how do you pick a plan? When do you put certain fertilizers down? I know that's like what I was so nervous about getting into this is like, I don't want to burn up yards. I don't know when to put things down. I don't know what temperatures, you know, so we're going to touch on that a little bit today. And you guys actually have this here, and I'll try to put a screenshot here of it. But this is the six-step fertilizer program that you guys kind of offer, and it has a surface level information, kind of the basics of everything you need to know, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. So I thought it'd be easiest if maybe we start on step 1, even though that was supposed to be down in March. And then just go down through the line, and I'll just let you take the lead on it.
What you're going to want to start with in the spring, around March 1st is typically the target date, is going to be a pre-emergent. We have Stonewall as an option and also Dimension, and we offer either one in either a single app, or this particular one is going to be a split application. Split app means you're going to put the first one down, 30 to 45 days, you're going to come behind it and put your second bag down. So basically you're putting half a dose, get you on the customer's yard. It's better for timing sometimes. Sometimes if you get out too early on a single application, we have a super wet spring, it's not going to do it justice.
Okay, so what happens if you miss that first application, and let's say it's, I don't know, March or April? So, you just go one app?
So the Stonewall is going to react better to the cooler temperatures. You want it out the gate before there's ever any germination.
Okay.
And then Dimension is a good alternative because it has some post-emergent quality to it. So if you're late, you're getting into April, soil temp's already up, you're starting to see a little till on some crabgrass, then we would switch you to Dimension because of the post-emergent. So,
and for the super beginners, and like I'm just asking because I was always confused about this. This is when you cannot aerate and overseed in the springtime.
Correct.
If you're putting this stuff down.
If you're putting either Stonewall or Dimension, you cannot.
Do you guys typically suggest only in the fall to seed?
It's the best window because the seed likes those cooler nights and it tends to germinate better. It's a tough situation in the spring because we never know if Mother Nature is going to, you know, go from spring to summer overnight, which typically happens in our area.
But if you're putting down a pre-emergent, it doesn't allow that germination.
Anyway. Yep. So.
Okay. So just remember that if you guys are doing this 6-step plan, is once you put down the pre-emergent, then just go with that and don't worry about seeding because you're going to waste your money and the client's money.
Exactly. So this is an add-on step. Some guys do. Some guys throw in a spray round. So this would actually be a post-emergent, basically a weed and feed. It's called Lockup, and it has the numbers on it are 1804. So you get your nitrogen, and then a little bit of potash on the end. So truly the next step would be...
And when would you put that down?
As soon as the weeds are up and established, because on a granular herbicide, it has to set on the leaf. You have to put it down with the morning dew. It has to permeate that way before it ever gets watered in, or it won't be effective.
Gotcha.
So that's why a lot of guys don't do this. They will just go out and spray a herbicide, be done.
Okay.
And then if the yard needs some food, they might throw in another app of fertilizer.
Gotcha.
So truly the next step, so 1, 2, third step would be grub control. This is going to go down around July 4th. We recommend, because of the life cycle of the grub, it's either the week prior to July 4th, week of July 4th, or the week after, and you're hitting that window. And we also will have it available in no fertilizer, a 007, and we have a 10-0-0. So you get some nitrogen, you're getting a little bit of food, you're getting that green up back, and you got your grub control down.
And do you have to worry about temperatures with that?
anything that you put on the ground needs to be watered in as soon as possible. So that's
Okay.
where it gets tricky on an unirrigated yard, because if we're hot temperatures, it's been hot, there's no rain in the forecast, I wouldn't throw it on the ground.
Okay.
You know, you got to play that with Mother Nature, and she doesn't play well.
So basically the burn up is putting too much and not watering it in?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the longer it lays there, then, and not being watered in and activated, you're running the risk of that burn because of the nitrogen.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So basically up until here, we've done 2 applications as far as this 6-step program,
Right.
but you can also add in
You can add that.
the 1. Now we're on the 4th,
1, 2,
which is
3.
grub.
This is actually 3,
Okay.
your grub control, and that's going to go down, like I said, around that July 4th window. And then as we get into the fall, this is our recommended September app. It's a 2803. It has a little bit of iron in it. You're going to get a good green up with the nitrogen. The NOS formula is going to give you, a lot of fertilizers will start going away about 4-week period. This will get you 6 to 8 weeks because of the NOS.
And what does that do?
The NOS is it's a nitrogen optimization system, and basically it utilizes every bit of nitrogen in that bag. It'll release quickly at first, and then your longevity, so that you're not losing it per leaching or other effects.
Okay.
It's a slow release.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Very cool.
And
So
then-
that goes down September.
September.
Does the temperatures matter on that?
The 2803 tends to like the warmer temperatures because of the slow release.
Okay.
So that's why we jump up in October to a 3424. 3424 is going to react better to the cooler temperatures.
And when does that go down?
That is around October 1st.
October
That's what we
1st.
recommend. Now, there have been years in the past, the last 2 especially, where we have stayed warm into October.
Yep.
And we don't make the switch over. So you may be throwing 2803 September, turn around and throw it again in October.
Oh, really?
So it's the fertilizer world. You have to make decisions. You throw the calendar out the window at times.
Yeah.
Whatever Mother Nature dictates is what we're going to base it off.
And so would that be something where, like, we put this stuff down, the 2803 in September, and then I come in October and you're like, hey, maybe, is that something that you guys
that's
do?
something I would make the decision based on
Okay.
what's going to be best for you and your customer
Yeah.
at that time based on the weather.
Gotcha. So that's why it's so important, like, to find somewhere like Site 1 that you have a connection like this. You are here locally. You know the temperatures, you know the weather, you know the grass, so you can kind of customize what's going to work best for that month.
Exactly.
You know.
And the 6 steps is just a guide,
Right.
but it's a guide to start with, but it doesn't mean it's the Bible. You know,
Right.
We can make decisions on the fly based on other factors, or what you're trying to achieve, or your customer is wanting, or things like that come into play.
Yeah. What is we'll touch a little bit more in a later video about aeration and overseeding, but what is your recommendation? Can we mix seed starter fertilizer with the 2803?
That's a decision point at that time. If you have certain yards that you're not going to overseed, I'd recommend the 2803.
Okay.
If you tell me I'm going to do overseeding, I'm going to try out that new aerator I have,
Yep.
then we're going to lean you towards a starter fertilizer, because it's going to have more nutrients for the plant base.
Okay.
To get that established, get it healthy, because when you're seeding, you want to get it as healthy as possible, as fast as possible,
Yeah.
before winter hits.
Right. So let's say I've got a property, it's irrigated. We're going to aerate and overseed October 1st. What would the plan be? Or we can do it in September as well. Like, what would we go ahead and do a first application of that, or would we just go ahead and aerate, seed, and put a starter down?
You would aerate, seed, and put a starter down.
Okay.
And again, we would discuss weather,
Yep.
because November is coming.
Yep.
Are you going to have enough time? If it's irrigated, yes, you'll probably be okay with a starter fertilizer and getting it up and established.
Right.
But that's the main thing, is to make sure it's healthy going into winter. The later you get, then it becomes decision time. Am I too late? Am I, and we can talk about, a lot about seed and options for it also.
Okay.
Anytime you want to.
Yeah, perfect. So, and then going into winter time, so we got those 2 applications, September, October. What's next?
The November app would be 4600.
Oh, you don't have that yet?
I do not have that yet.
Okay.
It's ordered, it's coming, but we're still way early. We've still got to get through seed season, so.
Yep.
But that will be a winterizer, is what we consider a winterizer, because it's going to give a fast charge to the root system going into winter. And we say Thanksgiving. I've had guys throw it in December, January. But if you're going to skip any step, don't make it the winterizer.
Really?
Because if you winterize a yard and the yard next to it is not winterized, when spring comes, you will clearly see the difference.
Oh.
It will already, because of the health, start greening, and this other one will still look lime. And I've had some customers test it for me, and
wow.
It's honestly astonishing.
Okay.
One versus the other when spring comes and the weather's right. And
yeah. So it's one of those things, like, customers always want an immediate, my lawn is full of weeds and I want it beautiful and green.
Right.
This is a process.
Right.
All year long. It's not like you can just pick and choose,
right,
what you want to do. You got to start now, and you've got to be consistent throughout the year.
Exactly.
With this stuff.
And here's what I tell everybody. Fertilizer for turf is like food for you and I. It's living, breathing organism.
Yep.
And it has to have food, water, and sunlight, just like you and I. We want to eat fast, we're going to feel sluggish.
Yep.
The yard absorbs that fast, it's going to become sluggish. Overwatering, it affects us the same way as it does the turf. So
that's huge.
In a perspective, that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah. That's huge, because people want a nice green lawn, and then they're like, do I really need, I had somebody say, can we try out 3 applications and we'll see how it looks. I'm like, yeah, but it's like, it's one of those things, you need all of this stuff, and maybe, how much time do you think really to turn a yard around? How much time would you give it?
I mean, some of the products are going to react.
Yeah.
But if you're starting on a yard from scratch that hasn't had any fertility,
yeah,
you're not going to see the immediate results till you cycle that
right
again. I mean, you'll see it's coming, and then you get back to spring, it's like, all right, here we go, and,
yeah,
and now we've accomplished it, but it's
yeah,
not an overnight fix.
Yeah, so you need some time. That's huge. That helps out a lot. I hope that helped you guys. I know this is like you do this every day, but it really is intimidating when you see the labels and you hear the horror stories of people burning up yards and things. So water, the takeaways I got is water in the fertilizer.
Exactly.
Read the
most
labels.
Important. Read the labels, follow label directions.
And talk to your local Site One crew.
That's why I'm here.
Exactly. I appreciate it.
Hey, you bet.
Anything else?
Happy to do
Any other advice you have?
We have some other options you can add on. I'll just talk about one of them.
Okay.
I've got it set in here.
Cool.
This is a triple 14. And this is a landscape tree and ornamental fertilizer. You have those flower beds that need a little boost. This is a good option to throw in or offer. You're not going to use a lot of product in a flower bed.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to get more bang for your buck if you're doing 2 or 3 customers.
And what's that do?
It's just food for the plants.
Okay.
Trees, shrubs, ornamentals, bed fertilizer.
Okay.
Basically.
Let's. I think it'd be a good time to talk about maybe some pest control. Do you guys offer any of those products, and maybe something to tame weeds? What recommendations do you have for that in the beds?
In the beds.
In the beds.
In the beds. There's one right here. This is Snapshot.
Okay.
So this is actually a bed pre-emergent that you want to put down before the weeds start. So Snapshot. We also offer freehand. I don't have it at the moment.
What time frame would that be?
A lot of guys will do this 3 applications a year. Spring before the weeds get there, halfway through the season, and then they'll do it again in the fall. And
so there's limitless options. I mean, you might say 6 times a year, but you could be on that property 10 times a year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like I said, we tailor the program for you specifically based on the information you're giving us.
Right.
So
if you had a customer that said, I want a nice green lawn, and I want no weeds in the flower beds, and I want my plants to be awesome, I mean, you could sell them the whole package.
Everything they need to get to that point.
And then what about pest control?
Pest control, we offer, obviously this is one version. Any of our insecticides are going to have the red on the label. We also offer a 007 cross-check in a granular or a liquid. The granular, you get a better residual out of it, but it's a multi-purpose bifenthrin product, which is, it covers the base of all bugs that you're going to encounter in turf. Now, occasionally you're going to run into some others, that we may have to step a chemical up, find an alternative, but as far as fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, spiders, ants, cross-check's the way to go.
Can you put them in the beds?
Yes.
And that won't?
Nope, it's just an insecticide. The liquids can be sprayed on ornamentals, trees. The only thing you have to really use caution on is roses.
Okay.
Roses are very finicky, and there's only a few products out there that they will tolerate without you creating some problems for the plant.
Gotcha.
So.
That's huge. Because you think like, oh, well, what am I going to do, those 2 months of hot? But, I mean, there's so many options that you can offer your customers.
Exactly. And, I have built programs for some guys that they'll drop off the 2803, maybe the September app, because somewhere along the line they added in that cross-check app.
Yep.
Because their customers, hey, I live on a property, I've got a creek on the back side, we've always got bugs, what's my option? Well, I can offer you this, So there is, like I said, it's a step, a guide, but we will tailor it however you need it.
That's awesome.
So
I appreciate it.
You bet.
Come check out Rod here in Pleasant Valley at the SiteOne. He's got a wealth of information here. So all the products you need, I appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.